if I didn't figure something out? It, it sounded like it knew something about me. Harris leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. Did it say who? No, just, they die, Emma whispered, hands clutching the edge of the table. All right, Harris said. Let's start with anything unusual. Any threats, arguments, or people watching you recently? Emma paused, recalling the past few days. Nothing. I don't think so. Wait. 2 nights ago, I saw a man outside my office building. He was standing there, watching me. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but he was still there when I left. Harris nodded. Good. That's a lead. We'll check it out. But Emma, whoever called you is serious. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. She jumped and grabbed it, trembling. It's him. The distorted voice began. Time ticking, Emma. With the phone. Confused. We found last week. In the outside. The crumpled photograph. Fake in the shadows hung among the her office. She had picked it up. It was nothing. But now it seemed crucial. Her stomach cold. She handed the photo to Harris. Voice barely above a whisper. Harris examined it closely. Wait, this looks like her, Miss. Will he be in the alley? Emma shook her head. I don't know. He's always been friendly. Kind. This makes no sense. Check, I said. Emma, we're telling you, trying to scare you, asking from you. They're willing to if you don't act fast. The phone again. Emma hesitated, answered. The voice whispered. Almost time. Look behind. Turned slowly. Heart pound. Nothing there. She pointed the dark hallway. Footsteps outside the door. Harris whispered. Check. He opened the door. The hallway was at the window. And a pulse. There, she said. They ran outside. A shadow on her. Harris put. Phone buzzed again. Time up. Oh, Emma screamed, hands shaking violently. A sudden rush of blast made them both freeze. Harris rushed. Emma was harmed. Emma called her nuts, Harris said firmly. But me, she whispered. Maybe someone in that photo. Warning. But you were smart. You stayed alive, Harris replied. Sirens went in the distance. Emma exhaled slowly. I up a string call in, she said. Her face offered a sweet smile. Emma sat down, stared at the photo, realizing it was more than just a face. It was glue, a secret someone didn't want to cover. As the rain continued to fall, she hugged the photo. I was scared. Figure I had. In the shot unseen by her, a figure watched. The game had only begun.
On her, the photograph clutched hands, staring at his face on page to her. The rain continued, creating a rhythmic drop of her thoughts. She remembered the distorted voice previous night. Solve it or die. Words replayed her mind, sending down her spine. Harris sat opposite her, damning the tokely. This alley, something unusual when people furrowed. Emma shook her head. Thought it was just trash. Didn't note anything at the time, but that feels important. It's wanted for me to find. Has not. A clue? The face is familiar. I can't place it yet. Did Orson have any reason tonight? Emma, I know him. He's always been friendly. But what that friendly ask? Sudden buzz made her jump. Hesitantly, the distorted voice went again, closing thinner. What shows? Emma's heart pounded. What shows? She whispered aloud. Think about the Emma. There are all shows that Harris said. Sometime. We had to find it. I was hurting, hoping the doesn't reveal who. They walked as Harold. A stranger seemed suspicious. Every shadow to light. When it moved, the alley was empty, except fresh, scattered on the pavement. Spot something leaning on houses. Nina brought a small metallic object. Look it, old and bright. She had carefully. It was another off. This one showing some
Emma Carter had just returned to her apartment after a long day at the newsroom. The rain fell in relentless sheets, tapping against the windows like nervous fingers. She set her bag down, letting out a long sigh as she kicked off her shoes. The apartment was quiet, almost too quiet, and for a moment she felt a shiver of unease crawl across her skin. Then the phone rang. It was unexpected at this hour. She glanced at the clock, 11:30. Who could be calling this late? Hesitantly, she picked it up. "Hello?" she said, her voice betraying a hint of nervousness. A voice, distorted and chilling, replied, "Emma, I know what you did." Emma's heart froze. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, leave me alone," she said, gripping the phone tighter. "You have 60 minutes. Solve it or they die," the voice hissed, and the line went dead. Her breath caught in her throat. Solve it? Who was dying? Panic surged as she scanned the apartment. Was it someone she knew? A story she had covered at work? A mistake from her past? She couldn't think of a single clue. Her hands shook as she moved from room to room, checked the doors and windows. Nothing seemed like the presence of an invisible. Then shocked her. Emma, Rutherford. "They're here," she exclaimed. Detective Harris stepped in, calm as always, but Emma noticed the furrow of his brow. "Emma, he said, tell me everything from the beginning." Emma tried to gather her thoughts. "Got a call." Recalling the past few days. So, 2 nights ago I saw a man outside my office building. He didn't imagining it, but he's still there. Harris. Good. That's a lead. We'll check it out. But Emma, whoever called you is serious. They're watching. Stay alert. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. She jumped and grabbed it, trembling. "It's him," she muttered. The distorted voice whispered again. "Time's ticking, Emma. Start with the photo." "Photo? What photo?" she asked, confused. "The one you found last week in the voice replied. Emma. The photograph came out. A face half hidden in shadows, among the trash outside her office. She thought it was nothing, but now it seemed crucial. Stomach turned cold. She handed the photo to Harris. "Here." Harris did it closely. "Wait. This looks like your neighbor, Mr. Lawson. Why you be Elliot?" Emma shook her head. I don't know. He's always been free. This makes no sense." "Check out," Harris said. "Emma, whoever is hauling you isn't just trying to you. They want something from you, and they're willing to test it." The phone rang again. Emma hesitated but answered. Voice whispered, "Emma, look at you." She slowly. There's nothing there. "There," she gasped, pointing toward the footstep outside the door. Harris whispered, "Stay calm. I'm going to check." Emma Carter had just returned to her apartment after a long day at the newsroom. The rain fell in relentless sheets, tapping against the windows like nervous fingers. She set her bag down, letting out a long sigh as she kicked off her shoes. The apartment was quiet, almost too quiet, and for a moment she felt a shiver of unease crawl across her skin. Then the phone rang. It was unexpected at this hour. She glanced at the clock, 11:30. Who could be calling this late? I know what you did. Emma's heart froze. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, leave me alone, she said, gripping the phone tighter. You have 60 minutes. Solve it or they die, the voice hissed, and the line went dead. Her breath caught in her throat. Solve it? Who was going to die? Panic surged as she scanned the apartment. Was it someone she knew? A story she had covered at work? A mistake from her past? She couldn't think of a single clue. Her hands shook from room to room, opening drawers, checking the locks on the windows. Nothing seemed out of place, yet felt eyes on her, the presence of an invisible observer. Sharp knock at the door. Emma jumped, her pulse spiking. She rushed to the door. Detective Harris, thank God you're here, she exclaimed. Detective Harris stepped inside, calm as always, but noticed a faint furrow of his brow. Emma, sit down, he said. Breathe. Tell me everything from the beginning. Emma tried to gather her thoughts. I call, a strange voice, said someone fighting it. It sounded like it knew something about me. Harris leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. Did it say who? No, just... They died, Emma whispered and left the table. All right, Harris said. Let's start with anything. Any threats, arguments, or people watching? Emma paused, recalling the past few days. Nothing. I don't think so. Wait. 2 nights ago, I saw a man outside my office. He handed me. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but he was still there when Harris. Good. That's a lead. We'll check. But Emma, I called you serious. Stay alive. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. She jumped and grabbed it, trembling. She muttered. The distorted voice whispered again. Time's ticking, Emma. Start with the photo. Photo? What photo? She confused. One you found last week, in the alley, the voice said. The crumpled photograph came to mind. Face half hidden in the shadows, lying among the trash outside her. She had it up, thinking it was nothing, but now it seemed crucial. Her stomach turned cold. She handed the photo to Here, she said, voice barely above a whisper. Harris examined it closely. Wait, this looks like your neighbor, Miss Lawson. Why would he be in the alley at night? Shook her head. I don't know. He's all been friendly. This makes no sense. Check him out, Harris said. But Emma, whoever is calling you isn't just trying to scare you. They want something, and they're willing to violate if you don't ask. The phone rang again. Emma hesitated. The voice whispered, almost time behind you. She turned slowly, heart. There was nothing there. Then she gasped, pointing toward the hallway. Footsteps echoed outside the door. Harris whispered, stay calm, go check. He opened the door. The hallway. A shadow flickered past the window, quick and deliberate. Emma's pulse raced. There, she shouted. They ran outside, out of the corner. Harris instructed her to stay put. The phone buzzed in. Thumbs up, the voice boldly. No! Hands shaking violently. Some breaking glass made them both freeze. Harris ran back. Emma was unharmed, standing in front of a shattered window. Emma, it's over. The caller wanted to scare you, nothing else, Harris said firmly. But why me? She heard. Maybe someone with a warning. But you were smart. You stayed alive, Harris replied. Sirens in the distance. Emma exhaled slowly. I'll never pick up a strange call, she said, her voice. Harris offered a slight smile. Good choice. Sound, staring at the photo, realizing it more than just a face. It blew. A secret someone didn't want her to uncover. As rain continued to fall, she hugged the photo close, whispering to her, I won't be scared. Figure it out, too. The mother watched. The game had only begun.
On her, the photo clutched tightly in her hand, staring at it as if the face on the paper could speak to her. Rain would pour outside, creating a rhythmic backdrop to her racing thoughts. She remembered the distorted voice of the or they die? Words play in her mind, sending chills down her spine. Detective Harris sat opposite her, examining the photo carefully. "This way found it? Did you notice anything unusual when you picked it up?" he asked, his brow. Emma shook her head. "I thought it was just trash. I didn't know anything at the time, but now it feels... someone left it for me to find." Harris nodded. "Could be a clue. The face, it looks familiar, but I can't place it yet. Thought of any reason to be in that alley at night?" Emma hesitated. "That I know he's been friendly. But now I wonder if this was a mask." Some buzz made her jump. Hesitantly, she picked it up. The distorted voice whispered again. "Closer than you think, Emma. Follow the shadow." Emma's heart pounded. "Shadows? What shadows?" she whispered aloud. "Think of the alley, Emma," Shadows said. "Something or someone's hiding to find it." Decided to return to the alley night, hoping to reveal a clue. They walked. Emma's thoughts spiraled. Every stranger on the street seemed suspicious. Every shadow felt alive. When they were empty, the trash scattered along the damp pavement. Emma spotted something glinting under a pile of newspapers. Kneeling down, she pulled out a small metallic object, old and tarnished. She opened it carefully. Inside was another photo. This one showing the same face from the first photo, but alongside someone else, Emma recognized. Her hand. "Tev, it's my old colleague, Maria." Harris examined the locket. This just got more complicated. "Whoever left these wants you to connect the dots, Emma. They're testing you, guide you." Emma felt a cold sweat on her. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every shadow of a passerby, every flicker of light made her heart race. Suddenly she heard footsteps echo behind them. She spun around. The alley was empty. "It's him! Again!" she whispered. Harris's hand rested lightly on her shoulder. "Stay calm. Whoever is this, you panicked. Let's focus on the evidence." They left the alley, but Emma's mind kept replaying the photograph, the locket, the mysterious colleague. It felt like pieces of a puzzle were being handed to her, pieces that could unlock a secret someone had gone to great lengths to hide. As they reached her apartment, her phone buzzed one more time. It was simple. "You're on the right path. Be careful. Shadows move quickly." Emma exhaled slowly. Her pulse was still racing, but a small spark ignited. She would follow the clue no matter where they led. She had to. And somewhere, in the darkness outside, the watcher observed, smiling, knowing that the game was far. If you like this episode, don't subscribe, hit the notification and play the next episode to continue the suspense. The morning fog hung heavy over the city, wrapping in a thick grey veil. Emma Carter walked alongside Detective Harris, her eyes scanned every passerby, every shadow, with a growing sense of unease. The photograph and locket on her mind, and the mysterious messages made her pulse quicken. "We need to retrace your steps from the night you found the locket," Harris said. His voice was, but his eyes revealed the same tension Emma felt. "Someone is watching, Emma. I can..." Emma nodded, her hands on the photograph. "I can't stop thinking about Maria. Why would she be connected to all of this? And why leave clues in such a way?" They arrived at the alley again. The track had just found trail prints in the wet ground. Emma crouched, examining closely. "You weren't here yesterday," pointing. Harris knelt beside her. "Someone back. They want to follow, taunting us. Wait, we need to be careful." They followed the trail cautiously, each step echoing in the silence of the empty streets. It led to a small warehouse of the district. The doors were slightly ajar, creaking as the wind shifted. Emma swallowed hard. "Do go in?" she whispered. Harris glanced at her. "No choice. This is where to start." They stepped inside. Dust and shadows filled the warehouse, every sound magnified. Emma's heart raced as her eyes adjusted to the darkness. Then, a flicker of movement caught her attention, a pair of eyes reflecting the dim light from the broken windows. Emma froze. "How did you see?" "I saw it," he replied quietly. "Be calm. It's probably just someone trying to scare us, or someone watching from the shadows." A sudden noise, a metal object scraping across the floor, made Emma jump. The glowing eyes disappeared. Silence returned. Emma's breathing loud in the cavernous space. She stepped forward, noticing a crumpled piece of paper near an old grate. Picking it up, she read the message written in jagged letters. "You are close. Watch carefully. Not everyone is who they seem." Her hands trembled. It's a warning. But from who? Harris looked around cautiously. Someone is manipulating the entire situation. There are few clues. We still don't know identity. Who it is, they're clever, dangerous. Emma's eyes darted across the well. The shadows to their own, stretching and shifting as if you could feel the weight of unseen eyes tracking every move she made. Suddenly a faint whisper echoed in distance. Emma. She spun around, but there was no one. Harris's hand gripped her. It's getting personal. Whoever's doing this wants you frightened. Remember, the clues here. Emma nodded, though her mind raced. She had no doubt the Watcher was near, observing, eating. Every step forward brought questions, more danger, and the feeling that the next move could change everything. As they exited the warehouse, entered the shadows, this might have gone. The sense of being watched remained here than ever. Somewhere, unseen, the game continued. Alba still smiling. Nightfall in the city, but her heart and mind raced thoughts she couldn't escape. The locket, the photographs, the whistle warnings, they were all pieces of puzzle that seemed impossible to solve. Harris paced back and forth in her apartment. We have to find Emma. Whoever is behind this knows we're onto them and they're prepared to escalate. Emma nodded, clutching the photograph tightly. I don't understand why they're involving me. What do they want from me? Harris's expression hardened. That's what we need to find out. The clues are leading somewhere. Something dark. They returned to the warehouse district, the fog rolling through the street like a silent threat. Emma noticed a faint outline of a door she hadn't seen before, up behind a statue. The door was old. Do you see that? She whispered. Harris nodded. This could be it. Hidden the Watcher was fine. Carefully, they entered. The room was small, dust-covered, and filled with relics of past, old news, photographs, and documents strewn across a table. Emma picked up a yellow paper clip. It was an article about a fire that had occurred in the city years ago. A photograph on the paper caught her attention. It was the same face from the locket. And next, a young woman she vaguely missed from her childhood. This can't be real, Emma whispered. Maria, you connected to this? Harris scanned the room. Everything here points to someone trying to reveal a secret. It's carefully staged. Whoever did this wants you to see these pieces and put the story together. Emma felt a cold draft, and her hair stood on end. Somewhere in the shadows, she sensed movement. The room felt alive with unseen presence, and she noticed a notebook lying on the floor. Opening it, she saw pages filled with strange symbols and cryptic messages. The past never gone. The shadows remember. Look closer. Emma quickened. Those clues. It's all connected to the fire. Something happened back then, and someone wants me to uncover it. Harris leaned closer. Be careful. Whoever left these wants you. The past can be dangerous. People will do anything. A faint sound of echoed from the hallway outside. Emma froze at the door. They're here, she whispered. Had her hand. Stay on, we don't know who it is, but we'll handle it together. The shadows seemed to twist, reaching toward them as alive. Emma knew the game had grown dangerous. Every clue, every photograph, every message was a thread leading her deeper into the world. As they exited the room, Emma looked back one last time. The secrets of that were waiting for her in darkness. His eyes followed her every step. The night was no longer black, it was alive with secrets. The night had grown colder, and a thick mist through the deserted streets as Carter walked, with Detective Harris by her side. The fog seemed almost alive, on the streetlights and distorting the shadows, making every figure and object appear menacing. As every step she took was filled with tension, as if the city itself were warning her to turn back. The photograph, the locket, the cryptic messages, they all heavily on her mind. Clue was a puzzle she didn't yet fully understand, yet the sense of urgency was over. Someone was orchestrating all of this, guiding her, testing her, and she couldn't ignore it. Harris kept the notes. Emma, he said quietly, remember the only way to stay ahead is to stay calm. Fear makes mistakes and dangerous here. Emma nodded, her fingers clutching the locket. I can't stop thinking about the fire, about Maria, about everything that happened years ago. It all seems connected, but oh how, why? They arrived at an abandoned library on the edge of the district. It has been touched for decades, the paint peeling, windows coated with layers of grime. Harris pushed the heavy doors open with breath that echoed into the vast emptiness inside. Dust settled in it, and Emma chill ran down her spine. The library was old and decay, and the silence heavy, oppressive. Emma's foot echoed on the cracked tiles as she moved cautiously, scanning the room for any sign of movement. Old shelves lined the walls, filled with forgotten books and papers. Somewhere in the distance, A loose shirt banged against the wall, making her jump. On a small leather-bound journal, Emma carefully picked up, her fingers brushing over the worn cover, handwriting inside jagged, almost frantic, as if the writer had been desperate to record something before it was too late. The truth cannot stay buried. The shadows remember everything. Look where the past meets the present. Beware those who watch from behind the veil. Emma's hands trembled. Harris, connect the fire message. Someone is guiding me to uncover it. Harris examined the journal closely. Yes. And the deeper you go, the more dangerous it becomes. Whoever is behind this knows exactly what they're doing. Anything we take is being observed. Plan for it. Emma's eyes drawn photograph from the pages of the journal. She picked it up with trembling hands. It was a picture as a child, standing with her family near the site of the old fire. The familiar aged pair. That's me and my family. Harris's eyes nod. He wants you to remember, seeing you to the with the present. But be careful, Emma. People whose secrets will do anything to keep them hidden. A faint, almost imperceptible whisper echoed through the library. Emma. She said it was empty. Shadows seemed to be stretching across the wall with unseen movement. Here, she murmured. Harris placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Stay focused. Here is what they want. Clues cast by the oak. Emma's gaze returned to the journal. Our page revealed fragmented notes, cryptic diagrams and scribbled symbols that had long forgotten. She realized the fire had been more than an accident. It had been orchestrated, and some spent years with the truth hidden. Every sound, the drip of water from a leaky roof, the scraping of metal in the distance, the rust made her heart race. She could almost feel eyes watching her in the room. The tension was suffocating, yet it felt determination. I have to know, Emma whispered, her voice barely audible. I have to uncover everything. Harris nodded. And we will. But we move carefully, one time. As a reason the past has remained, someone will do anything to stop her from revealing it. Emma exhaled slowly, a spark of determination igniting within her. She knew now that the shadows weren't just around her. They were part of a been in motion before she was born. Every step forward brought her closer to the truth, but also closer to danger. As left the library, Emma back on shelves. The past whispered to her, promising answers but demanding. Somewhere unseen and his eyes for every move. Game was over, and the move would decide everything. The city slept under a blanket of fog, but for Emma Carter, sleep was impossible. Every sound in her creak of boards, hum of the refrigerator, even the wind brushing against the window, as the watcher was present in every corner. She took it in photography, her mind racing through every detail from the last few days. Detectives paced the room before. Emma, the clue become host. Whoever is orchestrating this is random. There's a new reason to anticipate their next move. Emma nodded knees at her. I can't stop thinking about the fire. And Maria, someone from my past must be by now. Why? Harris leaned against the door frame. The past doesn't stay buried forever. Sometimes this is in never expect. And in your case, it's screaming to be uncovered. If Tapan did to a location to that later on near the docks. Slick with the reflective glow of the streetlights. Every shadow looked like a lurking figure passing by a potential threat. Emma's pulse quickened. In the warehouse, the large metal doors groaned as Harris pushed them open. Inside, a stack hazily dust motes in the silence overwhelming, almost suffocating. Lights on a crate, left more envelope, and unmarked, picked it up wonderfully. Inside, photographs and notes mid-sight, the people involved, and a series of scribbled messages. One note read, "The silent threat is closer than you think. Watch your back. They are patient, not make mistakes." Emma's hands trembled. Someone following you all along. I can feel it. Every step take, move we ahead. Harris examined the note. Yes, and in whoever behind this wants to be vulnerable to doubt yourself. But we're not going to let fear control us. We follow the evidence, the pack. Suddenly a faint noise echoed from the shadows, metal sweeping against concrete. Emma froze. Her heart raced. You hear that? He whispered. Harris motioned for her to arm. Yes, someone's here. No, keep your eyes open and stay silent. Move cautiously through the warehouse. Threats and scarred. Every corner felt like a little hiding. Emma's mind wandered back to how it had changed everything, how secrets had been buried and how had waited to manipulate using her past. On the far wall, she noticed a partially hidden bunch of boxes. Harris approached slowly. The place where the next clue awaits. Be ready for anything. Emma's hands shook slightly as she reached the doorknob. The air seemed to grow heavier, as if the warehouse itself was holding its breath. She turned the knob and pushed the door open. Inside was a small office, illuminated by the faint glow of a hanging light bulb, papers and files to the desk. Emma stepped to her and noticed a photograph pinned on the wall. It was a close-up of her apartment building. Someone had been watching her, documenting her every move. She gasped. They'd been of me the time. Every step, every action, it's all been planned. Harris's expression was, the silent threat is not a person, it's a presence. Someone who had orchestrated this carefully, their patience being ruthless, particularly in recede. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. The reaction her danger wasn't just immediate, constant. The watcher was near, silent, always observing. As it did the warehouse, the fog was thicker, denser, almost pressing. Emma looked back toward the shadows, sensing the presence that had haunted her since the first mysterious, silent threat just to warn and move in how far she could go in uncovering the truth. The city around them remained quiet, but the dark was alive with secrets, with keen eyes watching, planning. The story was far from over, and Emma knew the danger had only grown. The rain finally stopped, leaving the sea glistening under the pale glow of lights. Emma Carter's mind, however, remained turbulent, seeing questions and huddled memories. The photograph's journal, they all pointed to secrets that were carefully hidden and yet demanded to be revealed. Detective walked beside her in silence. The tension was thick, unspoken, hanging in the air like a fog. Emma, he said softly, moving closer, wondering who behind all this. But as I just found you, they may closer than you think. Emma nodded, gripping the photograph in hand. Thought and the fire. It's strange, all this, the clues, the messages. I almost feel someone close to me is involved, someone who knows me, past everything. Harry's gaze opened. A possibility you have to consider. Watch her, ever. They've been this for a time, and know your history. Courage. Keep focus, Emma. Affordably, they headed to a location hinted at in the recent notes, a small, derelict building on the city. And the walls were covered in blinking, the wooden and Emma's heart raced with each toward the entrance. The memory of previous things with the unseen watcher fresh in her mind. Creaking open, they stepped inside. The room of dust. Broken furniture lay scattered. The faint broken windows cast long shadows across walls. The atmosphere for most alarming. Emma immediately found a desk at the far end of the room. I collect papers and photographs. Some wall of them. Her pulse quickly approached, hiding several paces from her bust beaded. Her breath caught. Harris leaned over her shoulder. The photograph, they show you part and the visited recently. Someone tracking closely. Look at dates. Space. Emma's hands trembled. And someone's been on the streets all along. And why are we here now? Sad face behind stacks. Made Emma. She instantly moved her eyes, scanning the dimly lit room. A gesture to calm. It's okay, Willa saw the noise but carefully. As they moved closer, Emma noticed a leather-bound book wedged behind the crates. Pulling it, she opened it and written in the eye, real personal past, including incidents she hadn't had with anyone. Her stomach twisted with unease. Chris examined us. Emma, this person knows you intimately, using her own history against you, but is then just an observer? Later. Emma flipped through the pages, each one revealing each were buried. Names, date, connections via, and mentions of Maria. It became increasingly clear someone had been keeping detailed record of waves it. A noise, a faint creak from the floorboards, both of them freeze. Shadows in the room stretch and twist, unnaturally. As her hound is a real anchor. The watcher is just waiting from afar. They're inside my circle. Don't trust. This is written. That's everything. It means we can't trust anyone until we have proof. We need to figure out why they've been doing this. And we need to move carefully. Know if we act rashly. Emma's eyes scanned the photograph, her mind ring. The betrayal sensed was like a physical weight pressing on her chest. A familiar face painted with. Could Maria be involved, or someone else from her quiet things all the time? They left her. The chill night air did little to calm Emma's racing thoughts. The wind was stronger than her, and the sense of danger was immediate. Every shadow, every street, seemed to hold a presence to strike. One thing with certainty, the game, the shadows no longer. They were among her, and betrayal had become the most dangerous threat. The city around them remained quiet, but unseen eyes for every step. And there, the child, knowing that the threads of trust had begun to unravel.
A dense part of the city, the usual sounds of traffic and distant chatter. Emma Carter walked beside Detective Harris, her pulled tight around to ward off a chill. Despite the night being unusually quiet, Emma's thought roared inside her, a fear and attention. Look at the photographs, journal, were more than clues now. They were warnings, each piece of a puzzle that, when fully revealed, promised truths Emma what she was ready to confront. Harris glanced at her, his eyes reflected and focused. Emma's trail followed, it's deliberate. Whoever the clues wants to uncover something, had to stay up. Emma nodded. Feel the traps we take, every key follow, like they guide us in something deeper, something not. They arrived at a small, abandoned object. Its entrance was covered in grime. The white marble faded broken. Inside, the air smelled of mold and decay. And a thick, cautious sound echoing through the empty space. Emma's eyes were stretched out in rows, illuminated only painted windows. Some about the place for life, as shows themselves watching. Near the theatre, Emma stole a long pound hidden under a chair. She bent down and revealing photographs and notes. Her stomach twisted as she ended them. Pictures of her home, her apartment, and photographs of her interacting with rejected friends. Harris approached, laughing at the door. Sister, someone has been tracking you for a long time. Every move, every relationship, location recorded. And now the guy you connected, Em flips her finger. One in play, trust it from. The closer you are, more vulnerable. The more reveal those you believe are safe. Fail, someone to me. That's what this is about. The fuzzling came from the balcony above. Froze, narrowing. Harris tried to remain calm, focused. Sun maying from above. The freaky state of the balcony. Shadows seeming to twist naturally. Balcony, another located. Containers and photographs. Emma trusted mysterious and something the final watcher. Emma's raised as realized and dawned on Em. Someone I trusted in it from the start. Every call message. It's all connected. Harris examined the papers. Yes. Girl clearing secrets, sewing out, and leading you in front of the trail. We still don't know the extent or the identity. A shadow crossed the stage, but Emma froze, instinctively back. The sound whispered voice drifted up too far to make out. The tone was unmistakable, Fred deliberate. Emma's chest tightened. They're close to close. They're being me, Gotti, and I can feel the presence everywhere. Harris to hand, know enough to see Helen. The clues are deliberate, yes, but the story, if you follow clearly, none of this person is what they want. Emma's eyes crossed theatre, taking every corner. The long grabbed, it was real over her like a storm cloud ready to break. And the watcher, simulator, was orchestrating it all from us. As they left the theatre, the fog outside the theatre, Emma's full with one thought. The closer she got to the truth, the more dangerous the thing. The depth into the web deception unlocked, she realized it existed. Somewhere in the city, silent, waiting for the perfect strike.
Mother had just returned from a news. The rain relentless sheet tapping again like nervous fingers. She sat down, letting out a light kick shoot. The part was quiet, almost too quiet, and for a moment she felt a shiver of unscrawling. Then the rang. It was this hour. She glanced at the clock. Be calling this late. Hesitant, shake it up. Oh, her voice and nervousness. Disordering lied. Emma froze. What you're talking about, please. She said, please solve it or they die. The voice. The line went out in her throat. Who was going? Answered as she scanned the equipment. Was she knew? Story she heard at work. Day from her past. She couldn't go single. Her hands shook as she from the room, opened drawers, checking letters. Something seemed out. She felt the presence of a visible observer. Then a sharp knock at the door. Emma jolted the door. Thank God you exclaimed. Detective sighed. But Emma noted the faint furrow of his brow. Down, he said. Tell me from the beginning. Emma tried to her thoughts. I call, change voice. It said someone if I did something out. It sounded like it didn't think of me. Harry back in his chair, I nervously. Say who? Oh. They I whispered, hands clutching at the table. All right, let's do anything unusual. Or people watching you. Emma paused, recalled a few days. Nothing. Wait. 2 nights ago I saw out. He was sitting there, watching me. I thought I was imagining it, but he stood. Good. We'll get out. Emma, ever called you as they're watching? Suddenly, her phone buzzed. She jumped, trembling. It's him. Voice with Emma. Photo. What photo? He asked, confused. One you found like. The voice replied. Emma froze. The crumpled photograph came up. A face in the shadows along the trout outside her office. She picked it up, thinking it was nothing. Now it seemed cruel. Her stomach turned cold. She had photographed Harris. Here, she said, barely above a whisper. Harris aimlessly. What? This neighbor, Miss Lost. Why would he be at night? Ash said, Oh, he's always free, kind. This makes no sense. We'll check him out, I said. Emma, whoever is called isn't trying to say something from you. Don't ask fast. Emma hesitated, answered. Voice whispered, all the time, Emma. Look behind. Turned slowly, frowning. Nothing there. She pointed the hallway. A door. Harry whispered, Tom, I'm going to check. He opened the door. The hallway was empty. Shadow flickered past the window, quick and deliberate. Emma's late. There. They ran outside. A shadow had disappeared in a corner. Harry dropped his foot. Phone again. The voice said coldly. Screamed silently. A sudden crush of brain glided them both threes. Harris rushed back. Stand of a third. It's over. All or whisper you nothing. Harris said firmly. Maybe someone wanted you to find photo. You were data Harris ride. Side distance. Emma exhaled. I never got the phone call, she said. Her lights. Good choice. Sat down, staring at the more than face. It was a clue someone didn't want her to uncover. As the rain continued, I won't be scared. Figure it out. In the shadows, unseen by her, figured. The game only begun.
On her couch, the photograph in her hands, stared at it if on the paper could speak to her. Rain continued to pour aside, being rhythm back to her in thought. She remembered the distant voice be as mate. Salt they words replayed in her mind and chills down her spine. Detective Harris her, examining the photo carefully. Sally, where you found it? Is anything unusual when you picked it up? He asked. Brow from Emma shook her head. Oh, trash. I didn't say anything at the time, but feels important. Someone left it behind. Harris. Could be a clue. It looks clear, can't play. It's also how many read in that alley at night. Emma hated that I always be. but wondered if that friend was a musk. A sudden buzz mid-jumped her phone. Hesitantly she picked it up. Little voice whispered again. "You're closer than you, Emma. Follow the shadows." Emma panicked. "What shadows?" she whispered aloud. "Think alley Emma always shows that," Harris said. "Stop hiding. We just defied it." They decided to enter the alley and hope darkness reveal a clue. As walked, Emma thought spiral. Every scene on seemed suspicious. Every show felt alive. When they arrived, the alley empty, except for trash along that. Emma spots into a pile of newspapers. Kneeling out, she out a small metallic object. It old and tarnished. And carefully. Inside was another photograph, stricken face from the first photo. Someone else unrecognized. Her hands trembled. Old colleague. Harry examined it. This old colleague. Whoever you want to connect dots, Emma, best you guide you. Emma felt a cold sweat in her back. She looked, which had by every light, with her race. Suddenly she foot behind them, trying witty. "It's him again." Harris's hand rested shoulder. "Stay calm. Whoever is doing this wants you to focus on it." Left the alley, but Emma's mind kept playing a graph. The material cog felt like they were being handed her, pieces that could unlock someone who next time. As he reached her apartment, her phone buzzed one time. The maid was simple. "You're on the path," but those moved quickly. Emma safely, pulse risen, but a small spark of determination in her. She found clues no matter where they led. She had to. And somewhere in the dust outside, her smiling, knowing that him was far over. You just don't forget to subscribe, hit the digital, and play next episode in the sense, the wing fog of the city, wrapping the streets in a thick evil. Emma told Detective Harris, her eyes sang every show, with rusty knees, but it beat on her mind, mysterious messages in pocket. "We need 3 steps from night you knock it," said. His voice was his eyes tension Emma felt. "Someone's watching, I can hear." Emma knit hand far off. Why would you be naked towards, and why leave clues inside? They arrived early, practiced to just, but a faint trail of foot wet ground. Out, examine them quickly. "These were today," she said, pointing, knelt beside her. "Some back, they will follow, wanting, I need to be all." They trail, put it, silent. Prince, it's all about their house, edge of the what was the creaking, lifted, Emma so hard. "Go in," whispered. "We had no choice. This is the answer." Inside, just fill the house. It sounded agony. Emma's eyes to his eyes to dust. And moved her attention. Have going eyes dim from. Emma rose. "Harris, did that?" I cried quietly. "Stay calm. It's just some truck guess. What she knows." A sudden noise, a metal object ping across the floor, made Emma jump. The glow as its return. Emma's read was loaded cavernous. She stepped toward, noticing a box of paper and crepe. Picking it up, she read the written letters. "You are everyone is who they see." Her hand held. "It's a warning," but Harris looked rauciously, simulating the entire situation. Their clues, but we still don't know where it is. And Emma's eye darted across. Shadows move on their own, stretching it alive. She giggled under the eyes, tracking every move she'd. Something was echoed in the distance. Emma splowed, but this one. Harry's hand gripped her shoulder. "It's getting snap. Doing this one, you front. Remember, we flew the fit." Emma nodded, though raised. She had no doubt it was guessing. Every step forward was danger, a thing that would change everything. As they exited the warehouse, Emma looked back at the shutters. The glow had been gone, but the setting rained clear. Somewhere, unseen, the gate was still light. Night had fallen over the city, but Emma wondered if she could escape. The raft, the warnings, all of a puzzle that seemed impossible to solve. They got back within her apartment. We follow every leader, whoever behind this are on them, and they'd escape. Emma clutched her. "I just don't understand what they want from me." Harris' expression hardened. "What we find out, the blue little man, in the dark." They returned to this dog rolling the streets like a sun rat. Emma felt like the door had seen for, tucked behind a safe. The door was old, wooden and sliding. "You see that?" But has not clear. Place the watch was fine. Carefully they had. The room small, dusty, and filled with relics of the past. Newspapers, for a strewn table. A yellow news clipping is an arcade fire that occurred in the series. A photograph on the page, with the same face from the locket. Next to it, a run childhood. "It's real," Emma whispered. She didn't scanned the room. "In here, what some triangular secret. Tell you, whoever this wants to and put this together." Emma felt a draft, her head on end. "Something out of," she said to Mutt. The room like unseen prints. She tin guy on the floor. Opening its page filled with symbols, critic messages. The must never gone to shows. Remember, look good. Pulse. Shows. All certified. Something happened back there and someone wants to uncover it. Has seen her. "Be careful, Emma. To you, but the past can do anything to be hidden." Sand footsteps echoed from the way outside. Emma was staring at the door. Harris gripped her hand. "Say can't tell me, but wouldn't let shadows seem twisted warm with life." Emma knew the game had grown dangerous. Every clue photo message was leading it to what. As they exited the hill, Emma looked one time. The leaks of the past were wafer, very nuts, and his eyes followed every step. The night was long back. It was alive with secret. The night bone colder. A thick, ruled, deserted street as Emma huddled, by her side. The fog seemed alive. Her street lights as just make her figure and chip him menacing. As pulse raced, everything was filled head as if it's warm and back. The cryptids they weighed heavily on. Each clue was a puzzle she didn't yet fully understand. A sense of urgency overwhelmed. Sun was straight at her. She couldn't ignore it. Her kept vigilant watch on the shadows. He said quietly. With the idea ahead, stay calm, mix and miss dangerous here. Emma nodded, her fiction that. "I can't stop thinking about her. About 10 years ago. Seems good. I don't know how or why." The idle abandoned library on the edge of the district. Built as if it had been tugged, the feeling, the windows totally prime. Harris, the heavy low road, dode vastness inside. But in the pale light, Emma felt chill run like blood move decay, and silent heavy, almost heavy. As foot cut on that touch, she moved cautiously, scanned the room for a movement. Old wall, filth for bookkeepers. Somewhere it's loose to hang into her. On a desk in the corner, lay a small leather-bound jump. Ellie picked it up, fingers brushing over the worn cup. The hunting side was jagged, almost frantic. Emma had been desperate to read before late. The trust buried her quite the present, where those watch from behind it. And has trembled. I still connect the fire is. Someone guide me under it. Harris in the jungle closely. Yes. And the DUO danger comes. Whoever is exactly what doing, exactly of dirt, we've planned for it. Emma's foot-tutted piece of journal. She with trembling hand. As a pure of as a child, and perfectly the sight of her. The fear of head up from the aid, her breath got me and my fellow. I know. He watched me read their food about the present. Better, people who secret bury you anything. Faint almost echo through the the room was empty. Shadows seemed to show across the wall, unseen movement. There, but I placed a reassuring hand on her. They both front, but let her be distracted by them. And after she commented notes, critic diagram scribbles that hid to his she realized had been accent, inaugurated, and some 20 years the hid every round of wood for a leaky roof, great instant, ruffle paper, a hut raised. She could feel that watching her from the corner room. Engine was king. It is your age, and Emma whispered of this table. Of everything. Harris. And we will. You dead. The ring part has been hidden, some with his reeling. Emma is so, a sob detonating within her. Knew now that hadn't just her, aimed at insemination, long she born. Deptford, proposed truth, prospected dinner. And bury Emma like darkened shelves. The secrets of the past to her, putting nuts at marriage. And city, unveiled what I saw to you, the guitar moved everything. The city slept under a book, Emma's heart, sleep was hostile. Every heart, the creak of the refrigerator, the wind bring was as the watcher bent every corner. She clutched in photography to every detail from the face, his various pace with the click come off kiss. Whoever's trait isn't random, therefore we anticipate an X move. Emma nodded, though in order. Not in the fire, Maria, from Sloppy, why now we? Alice leaned frame. The butter stayed forever. I suffered looks didn't you see young god. The hunt, Edward shit in the literature entry. Deserted house near swing, flicking the dim glow lights. Looked like a leap past short. Emma's puzzled, and they reached the warehouse. The large was grey pushed them open. His aid pressed Hadley and floated in the cold air. The sense wing was sucking. His eyes, the ring crate lay an envelope, sealed, marked. She picked up opened, eyed Wotus and us. It was people, the seas of messages, note written. Silent threatened, wash you out, they are paint, they do leaks. Emma's hands trembled. Harris, someone is following you off. It priest we take over we make. Ross dead. I dabbed the envelope. Yes, and intention. Whoever is by this want you to honor to yourself. When go and trust. We flowed the panic. Some of the noise shouts metal speak at me. Arose, a heart rest you she whispered. Had motion her to come. Yes, come here, keep it open as he moved cautiously through the warehouse, several broken friends side debris. Born like a child. Esma went back to the fire, putting a thick secret married, as some tickets to mitigate presently her past. Not all he knows still hot my stack of Harris approached slowly. This might be the little reference. Emma's hands should reach on. The air seemed to hold heavier, as if the warehouse was breath, eternal and drawn. It was more office, illuminated by the faint glow of a single hanging light. But a while was the crest, ever close, and it up into the wall. It was a closer rumbling. Watch her cling her moved past. Dummy's whole step action so planned. Harris is a grim. I think just pun. It's just someone who is with careful agent, and with it to miss in how we proceed. Effort chill ran down her spine. The radiator, the wasn't to me, Wisconsin. The water was silent, always added the west denser, pressing. Ella looked back to shadows, presence at her, since first to recall. The silent threat game was warning, and we could have our gun and cover and the surround the rings of the last seats, smart planning. So it was far from it, and knew the day only road. The red line looked things glistening under the billows. Tonight, however, in turbulent spin with asked questions and offered memory. The both turned, all pointed to sits there hidden, and yet none be real. Harris walked at her in silence. The head was thick, as open, hanging in the air like fire. Moving over to who behind this meditation, it just ran you closer thing. Ella nodded, pink folk on her, portraited by Maria and fire. It seemed all of the images. It almost feels like some clothing involved in I asked everything. He's hard. That's why you can watch it lower. If that's from time, and knowing you're his ledge, keep your focus, Em. We've done something. They hid to a limited in the street note, saw the little outlet to steal and all were cracked and good in mean. The window broke again. Em's face each self-interest. The merry previous singers of the unseen what pressure her mind. Putting crew inside. What happened? Oak furniture left faintly filtering through no cast on shadow the walls. The asphalt life near them. As made a misty fell upon S far into the room. Lay a paper photograph. Some pinned the wall. Pulse quick and rushed, recognizing several faces from us. People breath thought. Harrison over her shoulder. These crafts show you the places you visited recently. Oh, you believe. Look at the funniest. Emma's hands moved. Someone's knocking the wall, but why we are? Something rustling sacred Emma. She into back high sling to Harry should car. Say, find someone heavily. And it was Emma Tittle, led down, wait, big crick, but she didn't mean it. It's riddled storage about her. Cling into the street, spices. Examine it. This knows which using one his against you, but it is not observer and Emma lit with unreal secret. She said things, connections to the fire and mentions of Maria. Making it, what was sitting a deep wood fire. With a rhyme moment. A sudden noise, a faint creak from the floors, but the freeze shows in the room, shittingly. But I real Asian brother. Is just watching from afar. They side by side. Someone at residual time. Chains ends are trying to prove. We took out to mind, but I mean carefully. Then no, actually, else had a grass. Amazing. The chest, a physical person, Elias in pain division. Marine or else for past, but trains all time. As they deadly chill of the dead little times thoughts. what it was never since it was it. Every shadow, every quiet tree seemed to press way to menu with 30 big change. The shows and the distilling and trail had become a see how the quiet unseen followed their such a mile note that the thread of trust had been unraveled.
Following the seat, the usual sounds of traffic and chatter, Emma took the time around to watch. Despite being usually quiet, it was her, it couldn't be a suspicion, not the first, the J. Now, warms, carried the soul, the almost reached Sam George right front. Harried her, his eyes were soaked, Emma, this following, ever left Strakovsk. We have to stay up, Bill could trust it. Every step we follow, it's like this is getting darker, and it's more abandoned fear on it. Skin grime, already now faded, broke, so the air mumbled decay. Walker and step cautiously, sound of days. Emma's room, hospitality stretched out, over deformated only by famous brokenness. Something these fell as the shadows of watch. A beer spilled out, in her fallen bed and dark, being photos of hundreds. Her stomach is edges of her high pond and drops of her added it. Harrison the father is missed, sons being killed. Every leg evident, record, how being the dots, through the night, listening, when you watch style, multiple. Trial revealed you believe, before Bill, so see, that's Elizabeth, a famous link can me up. Harris mode hurting com, say, some need be watchful, let me kill, they ascend and step back, shows questions trilled. On the back, unrelated, gaining as and for the tide of the mysterious and sounding the thunder. This half is on her, them, trusted, they living every call, every message, it's all connected, has Sandy, the one within now, so out and even in front of the show, but we don't know the full dental identity, I should have moved to